New legislation wants to expand what's taught in Michigan public schools, specifically adding the Christian foundations of the United States to history and civics courses. In other words, Christian and public schools don't often legally overlap. And as Michael Martin shows us, it's a very gray area. Michael?
Josh, the language of the bill is very short and a bit vague once you go through it. One constitutional law professor believes in order to maintain legal standing, something about it will have to change.
Because Christianity is foundational.
Bill sponsor State Rep Joseph Fox of Newaygo says this bill does not violate the First Amendment.
I think it does just the opposite. You know, the First Amendment is pretty clear that it's typically called the Establishment Clause, where, the state may not mess with the establishment of religion.
If made into law, the bill would require that in public schools, U.S. history and civics courses, the Christian foundations of the United States are taught. Like how the Pilgrims emigrated because of persecution and how the communities they formed, quote, cultivated democratic forms of government and Christian ethics simultaneously.
We weren't just formed in a vacuum. We didn't just appear here and say, boy, this is a nice place to live. I guess we'll start, growing corn or whatever it is. There was a purpose behind it. And that purpose, was written down clearly in our Constitution.
But Cooley Law School professor Michael McDaniel doesn't think it's constitutional, adding the bill goes against the Supreme Court ruling in Tinker versus Des Moines.
And it famously said that a student's constitutional rights do not end at the schoolhouse gate.
McDaniel explains there's also a legal theory that focuses on preventing religious coercion.
The Supreme Court has also said in an education environment that rules cannot coerce a student into certain beliefs. The Supreme Court has ruled you cannot coerce a student into prayer, into participation in a Christmas program, even to participate in the Pledge of Allegiance, should that be against their individual beliefs.
Republican co-sponsors argue this isn't about convincing students to be Christian. Instead, it's about providing further context to our country's founding.
Not that anyone has to believe Christianity or read the Bible for the rest of their lives, but they better understand this is where it came from, and they can take it wherever they want to from there.
Making sure that we're understanding kind of why some of our founding fathers, some of the people came to the United States for that religious persecution, the seeking of freedom.
But Professor McDaniel notes Christianity isn't an umbrella term for being religious.
You can say that they were religious without necessarily being Christian. And I think it is a bit of a misstatement to say that we are a Christian nation.
So does this bill have a legal life ahead?
If you took out the word Christian, and you took out the Pilgrims emigrated because of persecution, you could reword this in a way in which you are talking about the values underlying democracy without specifically referring to a specific religion.
If I were to rewrite this bill today, I probably would put that clause in there, something down the line of the need for a development of what needs to be taught.
Despite this push, all of the Republican lawmakers we spoke to emphasized how important the American melting pot is.
We always want to be very careful. This is we are the country that you get to have whatever religion you want, or no religion, or you can be an atheist.
Now, the bill was introduced on May 25th. Next, it will be heard by the House Education Committee. But keep in mind that Democrats control the state House, state Senate, and the governor's office, which means a bill like this may not have a path at all to become a law. For now, live in the studio, Michael Martin, Fox 17 News.